Hey, how you doing? This is Craig Beck from StopDrinkingExpert.com. I'm in London today because in 2 days' time I fly to Dublin for the first ever Irish quit drinking boot camp. Really excited about it. Hope I get to meet you there. If you can get to Dublin on the 7th of September, go and get your ticket right now. www.stopdrinkingexpert.com. Today's video is in response to an email I got from Graham. Now, Graham is doing my online course, and he's sat his wife down and he's told her all about the depths of his problem drinking. He's told her everything. He's laid it all out for her, and the conversation has not gone as he would hope. It's caused huge friction in their relationship, and his wife feels betrayed. She feels like he's been lying to her, because he's told her about all the health problems that he's been having, his liver test results. He's told her how long this has been going on for, how miserable alcohol has been making him, and he's laid this all bare, and it's hit her like a ton of bricks, and she's panicked, and there's now a huge division in the relationship. And he's emailed me to say, why did this happen? How do I repair this? What the hell's going on? And I get all that, because you see, the sort of people I help are not those fully blown alcoholics that Hollywood likes to portray. The broken, disheveled people sitting in the park swigging whiskey out of a brown paper bag. They've lost their home, they've lost their job, they can't hold down a relationship, they're completely dependent on alcohol. And if they stop even for a few hours, they get severe withdrawal symptoms. Their whole life has become non-functional because of this drug. Well, those people don't come to me, and even if they did, I couldn't help them because they need serious inpatient medical supervision. The sort of people I try and help are the functioning problem drinkers of the world, of which there are millions, and you wouldn't even know if you met one for the most part, because they are entirely functioning in other areas of their life. And even more than that, they're probably successful in their chosen career. So they're holding down a job, they're holding down a relationship, they may have children, they're not missing work because of their drinking generally, they're not getting thrown in the drunk tank every night, they haven't got DUIs and all these sorts of things. So generally, they're functioning. Normally, close family members, husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, children, that sort of thing, are aware of the drinking and are a little bit worried about it because they see what goes on behind the scenes. So Graham, you're in a kind of unusual situation here, because it's unusual for you to tell your partner you have a drinking problem and for them to not already know. Normally, we're not as good at covering our tracks as we think we are. And when we tell someone something like this, normally the response is, "No shit, Sherlock." Because they've seen it coming, and they've seen the warning signs, they've seen your focus on alcohol and how you'll choose it above everything else. So either one of two things is happening here, Graham. Either you're very, very good at hiding this, or your wife has been kind of in ostrich mode. She's been sticking her head in the sand and avoiding the obvious signs because she just didn't want to see them. It's called confirmation bias. We see what we want to see. And this, why would she do this? Perhaps she has some past history with alcohol in her family. Maybe a member of her close family was an alcoholic, or she witnessed it as a child. Something causes pain, and we have a choice of either pushing it away or dealing with it. Of course, the path of least resistance is always to push it away. But I'm speculating because I don't know your wife. Now, this is actually a really positive thing that's happened. I know it doesn't feel like it, Graham. I know you're miserable now and you're thinking, oh, why don't I just keep my mouth shut? But let me promise you at this point, this is a temporary, uncomfortable moment, but it is going to lead to something better. So try not to worry too much. You have to understand it from her point of view, because you've had a slow build up to this. The chances are you've been putting off dealing with this problem for years. You've been in denial, then you've come out of denial, but still kept trying to push it away, trying to prove to yourself that you don't have a drinking problem. When I went through this process, before I even started thinking about quitting drinking, I first spent several years trying to prove that my drinking was the same as everyone else. I would go around the office at work and say, how much wine do you drink generally during a week? And I would focus on the people who drank more than me or the same as me and ignore the people who drank less than me. Confirmation bias, yeah? So you've had years of pushing this away, denying it, pushing it away, until you've got to the point recently where you just can't avoid it anymore. It's become unbearable. It's making you so miserable that you've hit a threshold moment, as we call it. And you've had this slow movement towards this crash. And it's a bit like, the story of how do you boil a frog. If you take a pan of boiling water and you drop a frog into it, it jumps straight out. But if you take a pan of cold water, put it on the stove, put the frog in and slowly bring the heat up, the frog boils to death. So you've had this slow process to get to where you are now. And what you've done with your wife is you've dropped her into the pan of boiling water. It came out of nowhere, either because you're very good at hiding it or she's being deliberately tunnel visioned and ignoring it. But you've slapped her about the face with the truth, and it's like dropping that frog into the boiling pan. She's jumped straight out and she's giving you a reaction that you didn't expect, a sudden violent reaction, and now there's friction in your relationship because she thinks you've lied to her. She thinks you've betrayed her. You've been living this separate life that she didn't know about. Now, this is the reason she feels this is all to do with this bubble of unreality that we live in the Western world around alcohol. That reality that states if you drink a highly addictive substance and get addicted, there's something wrong with you. You're a freak. You're weak-willed. You're broken. That doesn't make any sense at all. Drinking a highly addictive substance repeatedly and getting addicted should be seen as the entirely logical conclusion of your actions. You see, what your wife is doing unconsciously is she is chastising you for something that you weren't in control of. Imagine you took a load of sleeping tablets, a couple of sleeping tablets, and you fell asleep. It's like she's getting angry at you because you failed to stay awake. Because, you're so weak-willed, you couldn't take sleeping tablets and stay awake. What's wrong with you, man? That's what she's doing, but she's not conscious that she's doing it because in her head, probably, she believes that stereotypical position that alcohol is a harmless social pleasantry, and it's only the broken, weak-willed, terrible people who get themselves into the situation you're in and the situation that I'm in. Now, the good news is this is a positive moment in your relationship, even though it doesn't feel like it at this point, because actually what you're doing, you're bringing an end to all that secrecy. You're bringing it out in the open. And it is a bit like pulling off the Band-Aid, and it is going to hurt a little bit, and there's going to be a bit of disruption because you've basically just thrown a bomb into your relationship and it's changed things. But the outcome of that change will lead to better things because you have now done something called a valve decision. You have made a decision that as soon as you make it, there is no going back. You cannot unmake the decision, and your life and your situation and your relationship will change as a result of that, and there is no way back because it's a valve. So what you've said to your wife is, I can't control my drinking. You have now deleted any opportunity that you have in the future to drink to excess with a justification, with an excuse. You'll never be able to tell her those excuses and justifications again and have her believe them. If you go back to alcohol, she's going to see it for what it really is in the future. Now that might sound scary as hell, and it is, but it's a powerful thing to have on your side because it keeps you on the right track. If you ever have those moments where you get a craving and you think, I'm just gonna, just one drink won't hurt. Those 5 most dangerous words you could ever think or say. You've got the added pressure and support of having someone very close to you who's not going to take any of your nonsense anymore, is not going to believe any of your bullshit, and is going to see it for what it is. Try not to panic about this. Understand where she's coming from. She thinks that you've betrayed her, you've not been honest with her. explain to her why you did that, how guilty you felt, how miserable you felt, how scared you were, and how you wanted to tell her for so long, but you were so afraid, and you've only just got the tools by doing the online course to actually deal with this. And say that you were scared, but you didn't want to worry her until you had the solution, and you've got the solution now. Tell her what you need from her. Tell her how much you love her. Reassure her that this isn't leading to something else, something bigger. And also remember, it pretty much doesn't matter what you say to her. After you've been revealed to be not telling the truth or to be withholding something from her, what you say is largely irrelevant. You can promise anything you want, she's only going to half listen to it. You can't fix this with one sentence or overnight. You can fix this by demonstrating to her over an extended period of time that you're serious about this, you're dealing with it, and she doesn't need to worry. And so take this as an incentive to really passionately commit to the course and make it stick, because your relationship is at stake here. And understand that you can't make this go away by clicking your fingers or saying one specific thing. It's going to take time. But as long as you keep demonstrating to your wife that you are committed to this, and you've addressed a problem in your life, and you reassure her about how you feel about her and how committed to the relationship you are, slowly, it's going to get better. And you will get to a point where it gets so much better than it ever was. So short-term pain for long-term pleasure is what you're going for here. Have faith. You're doing something powerfully positive, and this valve decision you've made will actually end up being a really great thing in your relationship. So I hope that helps. If you have any other questions, drop me an email. If you're watching this video and you're worried about your drinking, why don't you go to the website right now and join today's free Quit Drinking webinar, www.stopdrinkingexpert.com. Don't forget Dublin coming up this weekend. Got London at the beginning of October, and then the last boot camp of 2019 is going to be New York in November. Would be great to see you there. www.stopdrinkingexpert.com.